Hello everybody and welcome back to the Brightworks, another match beyond all reason. Today we're taking a look at a high-level game that was played on Supreme Isthmus. I know, we're looking at Isthmus twice in a row here, but I really do feel like this game is going to be well worth watching because today, spawning right on the front lines and representing the blue teams is an Armada commander. A commander that goes by the name of Amir, coming in at 47 true skill with a whole lot of silver chevrons here. Actually, a tremendous amount of experience coming across from essentially everybody in this match right here. Really gets me excited to see what's going to go down, especially on this front line right here. Now spawning right across the way. Not exactly a great view, there we are, of the red commander, Inda Club. Inda Club, one of the casters that I actually worked with on the 1v1 tournament that if you haven't seen, I would definitely go recommend checking out the live stream VOD that was uploaded. You can always go rewatch those. I do those for the live streams, whether it's a 1v1 tournament or just the regular super stream. You're always more than welcome to go check that out. But me and Inda Club casted the semifinals. It was a really good time. Go take a look. Inda Club going to be representing the red team right up here on the front line. 52 true skill, silver chevron poking out behind the bronze as well. And we've got a resbot already out on the field. Going to be eating up quite a lot of metal here on the front lines. As far as right now goes, yeah, I mean, I think this is definitely quite a bit better for the red commander who's going to be getting so much of this metal back to their economy. Very nice to see. Fiddler 112 going to be playing on the other frontline spot right here for the red team, so a little bit slower start right here, but that's to be expected. You spawn a little further back, you have a little bit further to go. You have to expand a couple of times. It's a little bit tricky. Inda Club, though, going for that single metal extractor start. Pretty interesting. That's why these bots are out so quickly. We're at 133 and we've already got 2 res bots out. They are getting metal and energy out of these rocks right here, so it is well worth it. And well, what a phenomenal start. Yeah, tons and tons of energy and metal coming out, and without those 2 metal extractors right here, normally that'd be a disadvantage because you'd be losing about 100 metal per second here, but to deny all that metal to the other side of the map, yeah, I think it's definitely well worth it. Double Centurions start here for Amir. My goodness, what an interesting build. Yeah, Amir going for something very strange here, going for the double Centurions. We hardly ever see these. I suppose they're pretty good against the grunts once you can get them into position. I sort of think of them in the same way that sumos counter fiends. Sumos and mammoths counter fiends or sprinters. They're big and they're bulky, but they're extremely slow. If they manage to hit the right unit at the right place at the right time, they can do a whole lot of work, but unfortunately that is not the case here. Resbot's going to be microed back wonderfully here, and now Thug production starts up. I think it's about time we peel off and start going for these metal extractors back here, though. The initial surge of incoming resources has been essentially expended with the loss of the grunts now pushing on the other side here, and then the thugs now coming out of the laboratory. Very expensive composition, those thugs, especially for an early game economy. No, Inda Club not really focusing on it. Actually gonna jump forward here instead of going backwards. We haven't even gone for a constructor. We're just going mass thug right now. That is so interesting. Yeah, just going mass unit production, not even focusing on the economy whatsoever. That is a really cheeky build. We also have some hovercraft coming up right here. Looks like Honk Waddle is going to be trying to sneak these hovercraft around and onto the side. You can see targeting X1, X2's base, and the commander is flying away right now. Oh no, that commander would be crucial in defending all this. Commander is leaving right now to go try and claim this island. It is open and available for the claim. Unfortunately, though, hovercraft are going to ravage that base over here. Thugs trying to kite against the Centurion. It is one advantage the Thugs have. They slightly outrange the Centurion. Slightly. You know what? Despite all that, a lot of metal is still going back to the blue team here. Yeah, you know what? I mean, with these red spots out on the field, it really does feel like there's just still a lot of metal going back to the blue player Amir here. I wonder if that start was worth it, because you do sacrifice so much metal income in the backline here. Construction bot almost finished up right now. We do have a little bit of an engagement from some medium tanks. The thugs, again, trying to micro here. One advantage, obviously, is that you have the res bots, so it's not like this army is untouchable, right? You can always resurrect from this army, pull from the corpses of the fallen, and then put them back into your composition here if you need to save on metal on the front lines. What a cheeky little build, though. I really, really like it. Are we going for default tech over here? No. Where's the hot pink commander? Oh, there he is. All right. Lusta 5 and Shoddy working together here to pump out a T2 constructor. Gonna try and build a whole bunch of T2 metal extractors a whole lot quicker than usual. I like this a lot, actually, because usually we see a T2 transition here and here, but if we just go for one, we can propagate T2 a whole lot quicker, and I think that spiral is going to be a little bit more efficient and overall going to work out a little bit better for the red team here. Meanwhile, Kaiser Glass has decided, instead of teching in the backline here, to help out Markiv, who is spawning in the C lane position here. So going to be going into boats in the protected cove. Interesting little play there. Don't mind it whatsoever. And the club forced to reclaim all this from the front lines here. And man, can't help but feel like there just wasn't enough damage done with that early aggression to really justify this. Overall, we've effectively gone with force stalling our metal extractors in the backline here, and then we ended up not even being able to claim this metal extractor that's usually contested out here in the middle of the map. Amir pinging the shell shocker that needs to move. Yep, it's blocking the metal extractor. This shell shocker single-handedly stabilizing the economies here, keeping everything nice and balanced. Love to see it. Gunslinger out by 5 minutes. That's got to be some kind of a record. The Gunslinger hits the battlefield and it's going to start firing away at a lot of this T1. This Gunslinger has to be micro to the absolute maximum if there's anybody that can do it. I believe in Into Club. Yeah, Gunslinger going to be more than happy to blast away at all this T1 just like that. Even able to shoot at the T1 air, which is surprising, but those light gunships, they're light for a reason. Gunslinger's certainly a bit of a jack of all trades. It's decent at a whole lot of things, not perfect at everything. X1, X2's commander did take the island, but it decided to fly over in this direction. We've seen this play before somewhere, I can recollect. There we go. Blasting down the base of the pink commander. Honk Waddle was producing out of a Navy lab over here, but ends up losing the land-based lab. Yeah. That's a pretty brutal hit. Would love to have seen a capture command here. No reason not to, or at the very least reclaiming all this metal. 310 metal right here, up for reclamation. Definitely could be useful. Heavy laser tower is up and running for Amir. Amir going so heavily into the Centurions here. Is the Centurion the new wave? Maybe after this game it will. Yeah, you know what? Looking absolutely fabulous. I never went this heavy into Cents though. And I tend to agree. I don't think I've ever gone that heavy into Centurions either. A significant investment, but I suppose if you have the metal, they are an extremely sturdy force to put out on the front lines. Yeah, there they go. Blasting away in unison at a whole lot of these units. As long as you have the res bots to patch them back up too, they're not really going to mind too much about taking a little bit of firepower here. That flame turret trying to blast away at them, but yeah, they can just retreat back, get healed up at the spa, push back on the front lines. What an interesting play right there. We've started up a spy bot here. We're going for a nuclear missile. Interesting. We're going to try and rush out a nuke, it would appear, right here for Just a 5, who's going to try and get that up and running. We've got it started and being maintained right now by the Hot Pink Commander, or by the Yellow Commander, rather. It's the Hot Pink Commander's missile, but it's the Yellow Commander's build power. Are we putting our energy together? Somebody has got to put a stop to this man. X1, X2 wipes out another base in the backline here. Doesn't have the energy to D-gun even, but manages to take down a whole nother base in the backline here for the Maroon Commander Hurricane. Loses essentially everything. Yeah, goes for the self-destruct here to finally put an end to that powder blue menace. But my goodness, the devastation is already wrought. Honk Waddle trying to rebuild over here. Still having a hard time though. Didn't get the metal extractor up, that's unfortunate. Missile chamber coming up. This will have to be the saving grace because that was so much damage that X1, X2 managed to do on the other side of the map. Just beautiful. Gauntlet in high trajectory mode, working away at this front line. We do have T2 vehicles rolling out as well. Looks like that extremely aggressive push, the rush to T2, didn't even matter if we didn't get some T2 units on the field. This single gunslinger, not enough to thwart all this T1 and the accompanying T2 that we're now seeing on the field. What a rush. These guys are out to full T2 by the 8-minute mark. What a brutal battle. Flamethrower turret trying its very best. The last bastion of fortification here for the Orange Commander Fiddler. I'd love to see this construction turret used to reinforce that flamethrower turret. What a brutal battle. Sushchi's now taking over the base over here, by the way. Into Club loses the main production center. Commander goes down for the Seafoam Green Commander here, Sushchi's. Not the commander for Into Club though, so at the very least, it's a whole lot of metal going back to the red commander. Essentially, Into Club has to pay for reinforcements here. No lab left to reinforce everything. Basically gonna have to try and buy as many units from the backline as possible and hope that the backline can come in clutch here. There was a spy bot somewhere. Yeah, there it is. Single spy bot up and running. Ugh, commander dies to frigates over there. That has got to hurt. Gunslinger trying to fire away at these Centurions. For what it's worth, the Gunslinger trades pretty well against Centurions, but there is so many of them, it's gonna be impossible for this Gunslinger to really trade efficiently enough. It's got a lot of micro potential as well, but again, you're only dealing with so much here. Gunslinger trying to shut down these grunts. It does manage to shut down the grunts. It levels up pretty quick, so maybe if we get it high enough level, we're going to be able to start blasting away that T1 a little more efficiently here. The nuke is up and running. We should see this charge in about a couple minutes or so. Webbers and Recluses being pumped out and sent to the front lines here. We do have a rebuild effort, rebuilding effort happening right here for Into Club, who has sacrificed his life for the red cause. Gunslinger's not phenomenal at dealing with ticks. The Centurion going to be a much better option as far as that goes. Hypothetically, anyways. Frigates and destroyers over here. Well, frigates and destroyer, singular, I should say. Produced from Kaboom. Markeev has a similar composition, though, so as long as this... Pardon me there. As long as this composition meets on a fairly even battlefield, I think the numbers just barely support the Tan Commander. Yeah, about 5,300 versus 4,400. It is tricky, though. The shape of the engagement matters a lot here. Yeah, if we can pick off 1 or 2 frigates, slowly but surely. That was absolutely the engagement that the Tank Commander was looking for. And I would say that the naval battle has been already won. Or at least on this southern side. It's going to take a comeback mechanic in order to pull the blue team back as far as the naval battle goes. This, however, is looking fabulous. The land-based push. Doing great. We've already seen Indy Club lose the front line here. We're pretty close to seeing the front line devastated over here as well. Shotty's commander is parked to try and catch any tanks that roll through, but the blue team is not going to push into that solid defense over here. We're instead just going to keep pushing on the weaker side, trying to blast through where possibly we can, and I think that's exactly the right play. It's a slow and steady siege, and it really is ideal for all these rocket bots and the Mauser and the Centurion. All very slow, all very intentional, right? You don't just run them in. You have to be very careful with them. Rocket Spiders up on the hills, launching salvo after salvo of triple launch rocket system. All right, not bad. Not bad whatsoever. Medium tanks finally pulled to deal with all this as well. The problem is those Mauser in the backline are just so tough. They can lay out so much firepower. Maybe tough, not the right word. They're so dangerous. They can lay out so much firepower every single second that they're firing away on the battlefield. Ah, but you know what? Those Rocket Spiders really did contribute a lot right there, and I think they just might have enough to clean all this up. Nuke is up and away. Who are we targeting? Looks like we're targeting the T2 production center right over here, the green player. Boom! Goes the base of the Cyan commander right there, the lime green commander right there, pardon me. Shocks, OG Shocks. Does get obliterated, so these lightning tanks will be the very last that commander produces, at least for a good long while. No constructors left over. So for the time being, T2 production is actually halted. Now there's the reinforcements, of course, that were pumped out and sent to the front line before that lab went down, but right now, at very least, this is the chance for the red team to come back. We need a big push. Resbots are shut down right here. Gunslinger, now up to silver quality Gunslinger, blasting away whatever it can. I think it smells that commander over there, looking for a mirror, trying to blast away at him. Yeah, there we go. Looking pretty good. About 7% per shot right there. Going to take a second before it manages to kill that commander. The mirror does cloak to get out of there. I think it's probably the right decision. This thing got so much experience, though, shooting away at that commander. T2 lightning tanks now used to break through this right-hand side. A lot of them go down in that explosion, though, but I think the defenses will maintain. Ooh. Taking down the radar is quite nice. Yeah, there we go. The last blast from that lightning tank will take down the radar for the orange commander here. Beautifully done. I think this naval battle is won. I think we just need to start fighting it. Well, you know what? Markeev did get the commander over here. By some cruel twist of fate, the commander did go down right there, so that does hurt quite a lot. Yeah, probably a little bit evened up right there on the southern side. Looks like the naval battle will be a contest after all. Anti-nuke is up and running right here. We're about halfway charged on the anti-nuke. How's the nuke looking? Oh, we are ready to fire. If we fire this immediately, we can take out the anti-nuke. And... go! Right on cue. Shoddy sends a nuke across the map over here. Can the spider bots hold off on the front lines? There's already a T2 emplacement here. We've got tons of T1 spamming out ticks all over the place as well. Always good to see. Where this nuke connects could define whether this game is all over or not. Looks like it's headed right towards the middle. Beautiful connection right there. Wipes out everything in the center of this map. Beautifully, beautifully done. Huge play right there. Wipes out everything that was holding the center of this map. There was a lot of T2 defenses. There was a whole lot of different stuff. Losing all of it right there definitely sets the blue team back. They're going to have to retreat to their back line here. You can see Pitbulls, Scorpions actually coming up in a desperate plea to set up some sort of static defense. The spider bots pushing forward as much as they can. A little friendly firing quite a lot here. Yeah, that tick spam. Pretty brutal for those poor spider bots. Love the inclusion of the Webbers here, though. Going to shut down anything that can move and make it a much easier target for the recluses. And, of course, it offers that reclaim potential in case there's something that you just want to get your hands on top of. Those EMP spiders are going to be fabulous for doing that. Shutting down static defenses, also quite a potent strategy, quite viable. Just like that, static defense obliterated. Metal extractor going to go down here as well. Kaiser Glass is spotted. Amir's commander over here as well. Well, this could be killer. Massive D-gun cleaves apart that army right there. Explosion takes down the rest of them, and that was a huge, huge play. Stalling out the potential from this army right here, just in time for T2 production to come up right now from Sus Cheese. This T2 production has to be absolutely pumped out in max. We have to see a whole lot of value from these T2 fiends. Otherwise, there's just no way this is going to be efficient enough. This gunslinger from the early game, what a hero. Ooh, Spider-Bot's resistant to EMP. That EMP bomber could do some serious work right here, but it has to target the right thing. This gunslinger, though, being microed to the absolute brink. Receiving new commands every second, every millisecond. Those EMP bombers, gonna be a problem for this composition to push any further forward. Spider-Bot's basically the only thing that can shrug off the EMP bombing. Everything else is gonna be shut down in its tracks right there. Another nuke is launched, but the anti-nuke is charged this time, so finally gone are the days of the blue team receiving nuclear devastation, and I think it's about time we transition away from this. We could essentially use the Armageddon to fund an APHIS if we want to jump the energy production here and kickstart the economy. We could also use it to just pump out a whole load of T2 units. I do, by the way, see a whole bunch of salamanders building over here. The new amphibious Cortex tank. Absolutely love it. It's been in the game for a good long while, but it officially got added as of recently. And it's a brutal, brutal tank. All the power of the alligator with a heat ray weapon, which makes it even better against spams of units and even tanks, things like that. It is an all-around powerhouse. Love to see those building out in the water over there. With enough rocket spiders, it doesn't really matter about accuracy. You just send all the rockets and hope that, I don't know, maybe 20% of them connects. Maybe that's even generous. Maybe it's about 10%. It's not a lot. It really isn't, but it's still more than enough to break down things like, for instance, static defenses. Scorpions receiving that constant barrage of firepower, having a hard time keeping up the sustain there. But doing it nonetheless, yeah. The Scorpion turret stays up here with the help of those Twitchers, keeping it well repaired. Love the push right here from the red team. Well organized into this push, and then they send the commander forward here to claim all these metal extractors. Really, really nicely done. Making the best out of a really bad situation here. Indiclub's still in this game, but does not have a constructor as far as I can see. Looks like all these metal extractors were handed over to the orange commander here. Are we gonna go? Okay, we're gonna go T3, and we're gonna go for a fusion reactor. I really feel like the age of the nuke is over. Everybody's basically gonna be covered by anti-nuke here. It's not exactly the case. There is still an opening for anti-nukes over here. There's still, or for nukes rather, over here and in the backline as well, but most of the eco centers are pretty well covered. Navy area, pretty damaged as well, or pretty exposed as well, rather. Honk Waddle, suffering the heat ray salamander blast. Special move heat ray salamander. Takes down the commander, and a whole bunch of these tanks now waddle on in this direction. The ticks are pulled. I mean, it's a lot of them. The salamander is essentially perfectly curated for dealing with the tick spam, so it's not exactly going to be the most efficient way to kill these tanks, but it will work eventually. Eventually, it might be too late, though. Those tanks have already made it into the backline right here. Verd 21 trying desperately to get into position right here, but just doesn't have it. Salamander's blasting the commander. Oh, so close. Those construction turrets, saving the day right here. Why are the salamanders not blasting this base apart? We need 3 or 4 salamanders parked over here to try and blast away at everything. Oh no. What an excellent push, but we're kind of using the salamanders in an inefficient position. Well, we can pop the energy converters at the very least. Wind turbine's also liable to chain react here. T2 push has finally, well, pushed back the forces of the red team. We need to see a T2 transition right now from Fiddler. It's about time that we step into T2 vehicles. So many T1 medium tanks, but I really don't think that's what you want on the field. Maybe incisors would even be a better option just because they're fast enough to actually keep up with the lightning tanks and the fiends. They're going to get destroyed, but at the very least to be able to do something. These medium tanks effectively having no value other than a big blockade that's stopping things from pushing through immediately. A kickban hurricane vote comes out. Okay. Looks like the team unhappy with Hurricane's performance here, the Maroon Commander. Construction turrets. Under fire here. Beautiful chain reaction. Takes down the entire base right here of the Brown Commander, Verd 21. And just like that, I think this push has done enough damage here. I think these salamanders can still ravage this base over on this side, but I think taking down Vert 21's production centers here is going to ease the burden on the front lines because there's no longer a tick spam pushing through over in that direction. It's going to be a whole lot easier to do some damage and sneak things through, and also your Sheldon, your, well, any long-range siege units are going to have a much better time when they're not dealing with a whole bunch of ticks. Looks like a whole bunch of lightning tanks have pushed through over here as well. They do scout the nuclear launcher, which is always nice. Lightning tanks eventually cleaned up here by the medium tanks, but my goodness, does it take a while. We went all the way up to T2 here in the Navy. How much value are those T2 boats going to get, though, is the question. Build power has gone down over here. Lightning tank continuing to fire away. Calling for bombers to clean up ticks. Always a dangerous situation. Nuke connects in the middle of the map, by the way. Takes out a whole bunch of those forces, which is quite nice. There we go. Bombers connecting with the salamanders makes a whole lot more sense. The ticks, a little bit risky, right? They run next to your production centers, and we've all seen how that goes. I think we need to build up another wave. I think sending these salamanders in one by one isn't going to do it very much, have very much effect at this point. I think we need to build up one more strong wave and try and send those through. T3 production, despite it all, is coming up right now for Shoddy. We are critically low on energy. We lost the energy converters, so we need more of those. Salamanders continuing to squeak through, though. Oh, no. Dangerous for a whole bunch of different reasons for the red team right here. The blue team absolutely looking great as far as the offense goes. Essentially losing no front except for the naval field, which is the only thing looking even a little bit sketchy here. The destroyers firing away with all they can. That's a whole lot of frigates right there for the purple commander. Still, though, I think this damage on the front line is just too much. The Pitbull's now firing away in the base. The in-base Pitbull. There we go. Salamanders will be eaten up here to deny any further damage. These lightning tanks still shutting down Ver 21, though. We need some sort of a assist here. Yeah, because we went for that greedy opener, getting that nuke out and starting all that sort of stuff, there's not really a huge T2 transition. All of the tech is wrapped up in this yellow base right here. The only way that this comes back is if this Razorback can get enough value out. Don't get me wrong, the Razorback is a powerhouse of a unit, but it's never going to be able to catch up to these lightning tanks over here, so if these can't get stopped, this is going to look really bad. Resbot's also great. They're going to be eating up all these corpses right here, being used to extend the metal advantage. Salamander's not going to have too bad of a time against the Razorback here. They'll have a bad time for sure, but not as bad as some other units, like these ticks would, for instance. Massive tick ball slips through, though. My goodness. We need some twin guards or some beamer turrets or some sort of light laser defense. Bunch more salamanders do push through. Scorpion turret getting real low, but I think those build towers are going to keep this nice and sustained. As somebody else is drawn, there's definitely better options right here for these salamanders, but unfortunately they're just not taking them. Here are the ticks in the back line. Now, the nice thing about being attacked by ticks is half the times they will kill themselves by accidentally staying too close to whatever is detonating around them. Still, though, they managed to take out the build power right here, and that is so frustrating for the red commander. Shuts down essentially all of the air production right here, and it's going to be a good long while because the only constructors we have are some T1 and a single T2 constructor. Massive clash in the Navy. My goodness, the Despot firing away over here. We also have Buccaneers firing away their heavy lasers and light lasers and all sorts of other stuff. We do have the Resbots underneath the waves, though, from Kharkiv, pumping out a whole bunch of metal, refunding it back to his team. As soon as those Buccaneers get close, though, they're going to be obliterated here. Wreckage control definitely goes to the Tan commander on that one. More and more salamanders. Tried and true. For what it's worth, this Razorback over here is great for shutting down a whole lot of this spam that's coming through. The ticks are going to be cleaned up quite nicely. Light tanks are going to be destroyed as well here. The lightning tanks, I should say. Basically, any of the T1 is going to get melted, and all the T2 will be blasted apart pretty nicely here as well. Yeah, see, cleans up those ticks quite nicely here. When it's not distracted with other stuff. We might need more than one. We might need another Razorback over there. Another nuke. Ooh, another nuke. It's juicy. It connects with a whole bunch of lightning tanks that were on retreat right there. Man, those nukes haven't hit a whole lot of bases, but the amount of units they've killed is absolutely phenomenal. We do have res subs coming up, by the way, to go eat up this massive reclaim field. Purple player in dire trouble right now. Very, very desperate situation. I cannot believe the red team is hanging in here. The metal advantage is about 100 for the blue team right now. Nuclear bomber out. Fair enough solution to this problem. It's a very expensive solution, but it works. It certainly works. Ooh, a little bit of friendly fire right there. Salamander goes down. Yeah, EMP not going to work on any of these amphibious units. Amphibious units fairly resistant to EMP. Boom. I guess after losing the gunslinger here, Indy Club is going to go ahead and take control of some airplay. Love to see it. Those bombers can certainly take a whole lot to micro. Razorbacks have gone on the offensive. Yeah, I mean, it's T3 up against T1. T1 spam not going to hold up too well against those heavy assault bots. Just like that, Cerberus goes down here. Razorback getting real low. Would love to see a self-destruct on that so we don't leave the corpse over on the enemy side of the field. And with this single Razorback, it's a little too scary to push in there because, of course, the D-gun. Massive Salamander counterattack. Beautifully done by Kalboom. Sends the Salamanders through, transitioning away from C, using the overarching wind from the C lane here. Oh, we want to target down that anti-nuke so badly. Impossible to see because it's so well pinged. There we go. Anti-nuke goes down. Oh no. I can see it already. The nuke is charged. The nuke is launched. No anti-nuke available right here for the Green Commander. Massive bomber wave, by the way. Sneaks through on the left-hand side. A whole lot of Stormbringers. Pushing on in. Flak trucks were built right here, but they can't keep up with those bombers. They weren't in position. Nuclear missile, where is it? There it is. Trying to catch both of these at the same time. Massive bombing run happening in the back here, as well as a huge nuke connecting on the field. Boom! Goes 2 bases in 1. Fusion reactor pops over here, as well as the APHIS taking down 2 of the blue team's players. What a massive, massive pushback right here. Razorbacks now once again finding a Cerberus that's been resurrected. So annoying. Just killed you. How'd you come back to life? There we go. Cerberus does go down, and that means these Razorbacks have their undivided attention turned on the T1 units. I'm gonna be more than happy to blast away this T1 forever. Farming free XP. Beautiful, beautiful plays. Bomber's still not done, by the way. They did wipe out essentially another base, and the blue team resigns. What a beautiful comeback right there. From the brink of annihilation, the red team with a huge push through this side of the map, as well as a crumbled front line, managing to come back into it with a massive bombing run, as well as a nice little run by, leading to a tactical nuke sent out by Shoddy, who indeed does win the Golden Cow for connecting so many nukes across the map. Man, these high-level games are pretty impressive, huh? Love to see it. If you love to see it too, you can always hit that subscribe button for daily Beyond All Reason content. Always happy to have more people joining up on the Brightworks and the Beyond All Reason community in whole. And I will see you in the very next game. Peace out, folks.